Well, we are here for our review of Spinato's Pizza back there. Spinato's is a family-run pizza business. It's been in Phoenix since 1974 when the family moved here from Chicago. They've expanded over the last 5 decades to 6 locations, and they've gone quite a bit upscale since their old time. I don't really like to review the pizza while I'm eating it. I prefer to take some notes, have a little time to digest, calculate out what I want to say, and then write it up. So, we'll see you after I have hopefully had a very good pizza.
All right, well, I've had my pizza and I'm ready to do review number 2 here at the Pizza Locust channel. Spinato's is a distinctive pizza. That is the word I would use to describe. I don't think you could fool me and slip me with a different pizza and I couldn't tell you whether or not it was Spinato's. It has a flavor all of its own, and that is a good thing. Their pizzas are thin crust. They also do a Sicilian crust. We're not going to look at a Sicilian crust anytime soon because I don't really like Sicilian crust. But I do enjoy a thin crust Chicago when I can get a good one. Why are we doing 2 Chicago thin crust pizzas in a row? Well, because the last one wasn't a good one and I needed a palate cleanser. By the way, Spinato's does refer to their thin crust as a tavern style, and they refer to it as tavern cut, although mine was not. Tavern cut being squares, sometimes called party cut pizza, which, if you think about it, party cut makes me think of a mullet because it's business up front and party in the back, and nobody likes a mullet. So why do people cut pizza in squares? I don't know. We'll come to that. I do like Spinato's, but I don't come here very often, and the reason for that is because of how distinctive it is. We'll get to that later. Our review was January 22nd at about 11:45 a.m., just before the lunch rush. While we were there, people were beginning to fill in. At the time of 11:45, it was about 30% full. It's a very large restaurant and even includes a separate room where they were having a corporate event while we were there. It does get busy at evenings, or it used to be a long wait to get in, but at lunch we were straight in and on the seat. By the way, they have a nice patio area when the weather is good, and they also have some decent bike racks out front. Our server was attentive, and our food was served hot and fresh. No complaints there. It was visually very appealing when it arrived at the table, which is always a good sign. Kind of hard for a pizza not to be, but you know, we'll just go with that. It looked good when it arrived at the table. Some stats. The pizza is 19 centimeters across. They dubbed this the personal sized pizza. It's therefore 284 square centimeters, and that, let's see, price is $7.50, which is a decent price, and it works out to 2.6 cents a square centimeter at that price. We're still going to need some more prices on the board to decide where these all shake out, but so far that's our best price on any review. The pizza was cut radially, and I'm not sure why that is. I didn't ask for it that way. I have definitely seen on their website that they say they cut their pizza square, and I have also had larger pizzas there, and they were all cut square. Why this was radial, I don't know. It's always welcome. It's always better when every bite's got a bit of crust on the outer edge. Of course, this style of pizza, the pepperoni is buried underneath the cheese, so really it just looks like a cheese pizza coming out. The crust is well cooked. It does have that characteristic look of being cooked in a pan where the sides are straight and they've got that flattened browning look to them, which is fine. The bottom of the crust was also well cooked and had a nice brown to it, a little bit uneven because of air pockets, but nice. And that part is soft and bready, which is what I kind of expect. The outer crust was crispy, and it all has a good flavor, but it's not crunchy, and I didn't, break a tooth on it. So all good. The pepperoni is neutral. And I would guess probably most pepperonis I have on pizzas are pretty neutral. They aren't necessarily bringing a huge amount of flavor. They're bringing in some spice and just a nice little current. That's one of the reasons I like pepperoni. It's close to a cheese pizza, but it just kind of steps it up a little bit. Go up to an Italian sausage, of course, it's much bolder flavor. But I kind of like the pepperoni the way it is. However, since it's under the cheese, you can't tell whether or not it's a really greasy pepperoni or anything of that nature. Doesn't really matter because it just adds that little bit of extra flavor. It's nice and neutral. It's fine. Works good. The mozzarella now, plentiful. Plenty of cheese, no complaint. It's not like an extra cheese pizza, but it's certainly not skimpy on the cheese. It was cooked nicely, browned. It had, it had some pull to it. It wasn't oozing off the pizza, but it was, and partially because I think of how browned it was on the top. But it is salty. And normally I associate a salty with a lesser quality pizza. The more expensive your mozzarella, the less flavor it has. But in many ways. But at the same time, the cheaper you get, it gets too, I don't know. This is not an artificial cheese. It's not anything like that, but it is a salty mozzarella. And that, in this case, it works, and it works well. And the reason it works well is because of the sauce. The sauce is what makes Spinato's absolutely distinctive. It's you have a bite of the Spinato sauce and you can't mistake it for anybody else's sauce. It's sweet. It's really sweet. I'm not a fan of sweet sauce. For example, what's the name of that chain? Papa John's. Papa John's pizza sauce, ridiculously sweet, but also a different flavor. I don't like it. And, it's any other reason why you wouldn't want to eat at Papa John's, but one of them is that sweet sauce, or at least for me. But here at Spinato's, it works. Why? Because of the mozzarella. The salty mozzarella, the sweet sauce, combined together, work beautifully. Distinctive, absolutely distinctive. One bite, Spinato's pizza. I can spot it. But it's unusual. Very unusual. I've never walked out of Spinato's dissatisfied with a pizza. I've never had a bad pizza there. I've never had varying quality of pizzas there. It's always the same. And that's good. And it's always distinctive. But this is why I don't go there very often. The price was great. And the pizza's good, and it's frankly not far from my house. And yet, I have to be in the mood. I have to consciously go, oh yeah, all right, sweet pizza. Because it's not what I think of in my mind when I'm sizing up the taste. When I go out to eat, it's by taste. Should add that. So I get a flavor in my mind. And then I go, oh yeah, okay, then I go have tacos or whatever it happens to be. Spinato's doesn't have that standard pizza profile flavor, and therefore it doesn't come to mind. It's kind of a shame, really. But there you have it. Nonetheless, I have to give Spinato's an A. There is absolutely no flaw with this pizza. It is distinctive, and that is what makes, it's what makes a business. It's why they've been here for 50 years. I would assume that that's why they're here for 50 years. It's certainly what keeps me coming back. So that's it for our review on Spinato's thin crust. Next time, I don't know what we're going to be looking at. But between now and then, I hope you get a chance to get out and have a great slice of pizza.